Welcome to Bigfoot Terror in the Woods, Sightings and Encounters. I am your host, W.J. Sheehan. Hello everybody, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend a few minutes with me. Today's reading will be The Preacher Man. This, quite frankly, has been placed by me in the top 10 strangest accounts which I have ever heard to date. And yet, John Rogers, who told me this account, was a straightforward, clean-cut businessman from the state of Idaho. With a straight face coupled with a calm and forthright demeanor, he told me the following story. The dates of this occurrence of which I speak were August 23rd and 24th of 1985. This being a weekend which I had planned to do a bit of hunting in the timber. I had hiked into an area which was due east of Bonner's Ferry and along the shore of all places, Priest Lake. As you will soon hear, the lake by which I was hunting was more than aptly named for what was about to happen. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I was walking through some well-dispersed timber, heading up a slope that was before me. I could see reasonably well in here, with there being virtually no low growth in this area. As I was hiking, my eyes picked up on some dark, black shape coming through the forest and heading towards me. At this point, I had only caught a glimpse of black coloring, which froze me in my tracks. Dropping my rifle's barrel towards the color, I saw it was a man. He was now in full view, having cleared the trees that were disrupting my seeing him fully. As I was focusing on him, I realized he was a priest or a minister of some kind, and he was walking directly towards me. I remember holding my hand to my head and thinking to myself, "What's wrong with you?" 2 minutes later, he was standing in front of me and said, "Beautiful day, isn't it?" I said to him, "What are you doing out here?" He replied, "The work of the Lord." I then asked him where he had come from and why he wasn't carrying a gun, to which he said, "I'm frequently in the forest, and I'm never worried. The Lord protects those who belong to him." This man, who I now believed was a Catholic priest, was wearing a flat-top, brimmed hat, a long black garment down to his feet, and there was a large crucifix hanging from his neck, with the corpus of Jesus affixed to it. He was also wearing a pair of oblong-shaped, wire-rimmed glasses. His overall appearance was that of a preacher from the 1800s. Staring me right in the eyes, in a way where it seemed like he was looking right through me, he said, "When you find yourself in trouble, they that call upon the name of the Lord will be saved." He turned away saying, "Good luck with the hunt, and remember, pray always." With that instruction, he walked away. I should also mention that when he stood before me, we had exchanged a handshake, and he was, in fact, flesh and bones. As you would well imagine, I didn't know what to make out of this encounter, and yet it had most certainly happened. When I had made it back to my truck, I actually had a Bible in my glove box, so I took it out. I laid it on the seat, and it flipped open when I put it down. Call it fate or whatever you want, but my eyes were suddenly drawn to a scripture that was before me on the page, which read as follows: "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware." After reading this, I sat there pondering all that had happened. The following day, I made my way back into an area near the southeast tip of Priest Lake, and I couldn't stop thinking about the priest from the day before for obvious reasons. When I looked at my watch, it was once again 1 o'clock, which was the exact time I had seen the priest the day before. I had to take a squat and relieve myself, so I kicked open a hole in the dirt. I had my rifle leaning against a tree and was squatting with my pants pulled down. Suddenly, I heard a grunt. When I looked to my left, a Sasquatch of the most immense proportions was staring at me some 30 feet away. Where he had come from, I had no idea. He looked like the devil himself and was staring at me in a way that said, "Now I've got you." I tried to stand up, being in the middle of you-know-what, attempting to pull my pants up, and the creature began to move towards me, snarling. I started to pray out loud. "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us, Lord, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." As soon as I had finished saying, "Deliver us from evil," the Sasquatch let out the loudest and most hideous shrieking scream that you could imagine, and ran, not walked, into the trees at a rate that is not humanly imaginable. I was left standing there with crap literally running down my pants legs and trembling as the words of the priest were ringing through my very soul. "Remember to pray always. The Lord protects those who belong to him." I left the woods that day shaken and battered mentally, making my way back to the truck. When I had made it back home, my wife said to me, "You stink, man. Take those clothes off and go take a shower now." I said that I would explain later. To this day, I have no idea how that Sasquatch had gotten that close to me without my seeing it. It stood about 11 feet tall and was built like a brick you-know-what. His hair was dark brown with what I will describe as maroon highlights. The facial expression, which it was making at me, was that of a demon from hell. A Halloween mask that would frighten anyone. His upper brow ran high up into the hairline, and he was bald throughout the entire middle of his skull, which was cone-shaped. His nose must have been 4 inches wide and laid flat against the face. When he turned to run, he left me like a dragster leaving the starting line, and that's no lie. He was faster than a horse at full gallop. Until next time, remember, always carry more gun than you think you're going to need. Sleep tight.